Today we're going to be going over how to make one of the most overpowered Zonai devices in the game. You can use this to defeat pretty much anything in the game without really having to try very hard at all. It's great for killing Lionel, Gliok, and everything else. I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build this, where you can find all the items, and the best ways to use it for combat. This whole plan came into existence because I realized that Lionels can actually completely destroy Zonai devices, and I was determined to defeat this. And boy, oh boy, did I figure it out. Now to build this, you're going to need 16 beam emitters. If you go to the Upland Zorana Skyview Tower and launch up into the air, you can actually get beam emitters from this spot right here. You can also get fans, wings, and carts. We're also going to need 2 construction heads. To get these, you can launch into the Typhlo Ruins Skyview Tower, and you're going to fly south to the spot right here, which is Bravery Island. You can get construction heads and batteries here. Then you need 1 hoverstone, which if you launch out of the Upland Zorana Skyview Tower, you can land on this island where you got the device dispenser for the beam emitter, and you can fly all the way up to this area up here, which is the Wellspring Island. It's really high up in the sky, but this is where you can get hoverstones. And then last but not least, you're going to need 1 rocket. You can also use a cart, or you can go to any location that has a stone if you don't want to use more Zonai devices. If you go to the Rossborough Pass Skyview Tower, launch up into the sky, you can head to this location right here, which has rockets for the dispenser. Also, if you haven't unlocked auto build yet, I definitely recommend doing that before you build this. Check out my video. I'll leave a card in the top right corner, and I'll leave a link in the description. Auto build is your best friend when you're trying to build devices like this because you can rebuild them anywhere pretty much instantly. To get this build to work right, we have to put it together in a very specific way, so pay attention closely. We're going to take our hoverstone and put it in a flat spot, and then we're going to grab one of our construction heads. We want to face this so the eye is facing up, and then we're going to rotate this so that it's on a 45-degree angle. We're going to try and get this as centered as we can and on the edge of the hoverstone, so just like that. And you should have something that is really close to center and looks just like this. Then we're going to grab our other construction head, and we're going to do pretty much the same thing. We want to put it at a 45-degree angle, and we want to get it as centered as possible and on the edge of this hoverstone in exactly the same spot if we can. They should be just as lined up as you can get them. Now we can start attaching our beam emitters. You're going to attach them to the side of the construction head, and each construction head is going to have a total of 8 beam emitters. And we want to make sure to evenly distribute the load. You're going to want to make sure that you're attaching your beam emitters at a 45-degree angle along with the construction head. And the most important part for this is that everything is perfectly even. And you're going to want to do this on both sides. Once you've got both sides complete, you should have something that looks exactly like this. What's great about this is it doubles as not only our weapons, but also the legs for our device. So what we can do is we can actually run under this and ascend up on top of our device if we want to. It comes in super handy for escaping combat if you need to. Now to continue with this build, make sure to flip it around just like we have it right now so that the whole build is standing on the weapons. And there's 2 different ways we can attach our rocket. If we attach it perfectly vertically, this is going to shoot straight up in the air, and this comes in super handy and for fighting something that you want to fight directly below you. Your other option is to attach it at a 45-degree angle. That way it'll launch towards an enemy you see in front of you while also getting above it. We'll demonstrate exactly how these both work in just a little bit. Now you can fight most things with this as it is right now, but if you want to be able to fight Lionel, you're going to need to actually take off one of these lasers. I recommend taking out a middle one, so that way you don't really misbalance it at all. And then we're going to take a cart. These carts are really lightweight, so they're really good for this, although it does require another Zonai device. You're going to want to attach your wall directly to the front edge of this. You don't want to attach it to this spot right here. You want to attach it to the top edge. Also, if you use wood for this, there's a solid chance, depending on what's going on, their arrows could catch fire, which means your roof will catch on fire. So do not use wood for this. And stone is a little bit too heavy, so carts really are your best choice. And then we're going to take another cart and put it down at a 45-degree angle and attach it to the other wall. That way you should have something that looks just like this, and we can still ascend up into our device. This is going to make it so that no Lionel will be able to hit you from arrows above, and your building can't burn to the ground if one accidentally gets caught on fire. Once you've got the device built, go to auto build, then go to history, and make sure to save this to your favorites. So now let's test our new device on our friendly neighborhood Lionel. If you go to auto build and go to your favorites, you're going to see that this device costs 63 Zonai to use. That's kind of expensive, but there's a trick we can do to use less Zonai. If we go to our Zonai devices, we could take out all of the items that we used to build it. So 1 rocket, 15 beam emitters if you use the roof, 2 construction heads, 2 carts, and a hoverstone. And then we can go back to auto build, and you realize that it's going to pick up all the devices that we laid on the ground, so that way you don't have to use any Zonite. So depending on what resources you have, you can either choose to build this with Zonite or use your Zonai devices, or use any combination of the two. Now what's great about this is once you have picked up all your items, you can still move your device around and then point it towards the enemy you want to defeat with it. So we know we want to take out this white Lionel. We want to make sure that our device isn't too far away from it. Once we feel like we're in a good spot, we can start building it. And then when you're building it, just go ahead and send right up into it. Once you're inside, go ahead and just give it a little slap-a-rooski to fly up into the air above your enemy, and it should just begin attacking. Now, if for some strange reason you ended up too high, what you can do is you can actually use recall to rewind your device. Now, what we can do is get this a little bit lower to a point where it's going to continuously attack our enemy. And then from here, it's just a matter of just sitting and waiting for our Lionel to be completely destroyed. Now, this does take a lot of energy, so I do recommend using like a large Zonai charge. And then that way, you really just have to sit here, just pay attention to your energy, don't let anything happen. The Lionel's not going to be able to hit you at all, and you're too high for it to destroy your device with its Zonai destroying ability. And it can't hit you with the arrows because of your roof. So it's really just a ridiculously good Lionel killing device, as well as everything else in the game too. And what's crazy is you can also use this to farm up the Coliseum, but we're going to do one thing a little bit different. Remember how we mentioned the different position for the rockets? We're going to actually use it on a vertical orientation this time. Then we're going to grab our device and extend it out as far in front of us as we can. What we're going to do is we're going to get this placed just where we actually activate the Coliseum, and we're going to drop it right there. That we need to actually get it just a little bit farther. We drop it right here. That should be right where we start the cutscene. So if we run up under this, the Coliseum's going to activate, and then what we need to do is immediately activate Ascend to hop up into this, and then slap it to activate. Now we should launch straight up in the air this time, and you're going to notice that we're probably going to end up being a little bit too high. At this point, I'm going to use one of our large Zonai charges, and then we're going to use recall on our device just to get it a little bit lower. We're going to recall it to right about here, which is going to be the perfect height to be able to take out all of these Lionels. But it's also low enough because we might need to jump off our device to be able to get some of the other Lionels that spawn to aggro us. So first Lionel down, then the next blue Lionel is going to spawn, and then this one should run out far enough to be able to be hit. There we go. So that one's good. This one might take a little bit longer because I think only one of the batches of lasers are going to actually hit it. But from here, what's nice is if you have a bow already, you can also just shoot it up here while being protected, and it cannot do anything to you. So this is not only going to do damage to your Lionels, but also put you in a position for you to be able to attack them on your own as well. While you're doing this, just make sure to pay attention to how much energy is left, and just slowly but surely take out all of the Lionels. Once the blue Lionel's dead, we're going to spawn the white one. We've already seen this in action, and it's going to do the exact same thing as before. We're just going to use our height to our advantage. Depending on how many large Zonai charges, you can do a couple different things. If you wanted to, and I'll show this in action, we're going to pop another large Zonai charge just to be safe. What we could do is we could jump off of this to get the Lionel to come closer to us, and we could kind of just prep and ascend, and the Lionel's going to start charging towards where you dropped. Then you can hop back into your device, and then you have both lasers attacking. That one's a little bit more dangerous if you're not good at fighting Lionels, so just keep that in mind. And now we've got our white Lionel killed. Now for the silver Lionel. This one's going to spawn behind us. I believe both laser beams shouldn't have a problem killing this one. Once again, only one side of our laser beams are going to attack this, so depending on how much energy you're using, you can also just sit below it if you have the Hylian shield and let it attack you while the laser beams do their work, because the Hylian shield is just so freaking good. It really can't do anything to you during this. Next, you're going to have to deal with an armored silver Lionel. This is why we needed a not wooden roof, because what we need to do is use bomb arrows to take off its armor. So from our elevated position, we can just fire off these bomb arrows without taking any damage. And depending on how risky you want to get, you can actually take it down. Once you actually break its armor, I do recommend jumping down. You can activate your ascend, lure it over, and that should get it to start running out towards you. And then from here, it's just another waiting game for your silver Lionel to be defeated. And just like that, you've got the ultimate Coliseum farming machine. Once you defeat the Coliseum for the first time, you can collect your reward, which is the Majora's Mask. A pretty fantastic reward for defeating the Coliseum, if I do say so myself. Now, the way that we use this to take down the Lionels can be used to really defeat anything in the game. I really do hope you all enjoyed this overpowered Zonai device. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.